Hi, I'm Charles,
I'm Ashley.
and today we're going to be talking about how we bought our house. So, March of last year, we closed on our house. So, we've been here now just under a year, and we're going to talk a little bit about our experience buying a house during the pandemic, what that was like, the things that shocked us, the things that we really liked about the process, things that maybe we do different if we had the opportunity to. So we're going to just jump right in. So we started looking for a house in December of 2020.
Mhm.
Uh, we applied for the pre-approval, and we were kind of just looking at the ads. Went to an open house, and that's where we actually met our real estate agent. We hadn't, because we didn't have a pre-approval letter yet, we had not contacted any real estate agents.
Right.
And it was really just kind of a whim that we even went to this open house. And we get there, and we'll call it Mike. The agent told us when we walked in that we were free to look around, but just so we knew, the owners had accepted an offer the night before. Yeah. So.
And little did we know this was going to be pretty much our experience going forward. Lots of houses. Yeah. Lots of listings.
Yeah. So then we went on a string of either we would see the listing get posted, call Mike, schedule the appointment to go view it for later the same day or first thing, sometime the next day, only to have them call and say they'd accepted an offer.
Right.
And that went on for all of January.
Yeah.
And into February.
Or there was that one house that had like a weird lottery system.
Yeah.
They just took a bunch of bids and.
Yeah, so they did they started doing showings on Monday, and the agent was there and told us that they were going to do showings every day from 4 to 6. And then on Friday, they were going to open all the offers and choose the winning offer and a backup. Yeah. And they would let us know. But that methodology really has become pretty common now in this area because the housing market is so tight and the inventory is so low right now. We actually put in an offer on one house, but during the home inspection, they found that the foundation walls were bowing, and we couldn't come to a resolution with the seller on how to remediate that. That was acceptable. So that was the end of that deal. And then we were, after several, seeing the listing, really loving, what we saw on the listing, only to not even have an opportunity to put in an offer. These houses were going within hours, sight unseen.
Yeah.
And so Ashley found this house. It was a for sale by owner. And, it's not always the easiest transaction when you're dealing with the homeowner versus another agent.
Right.
So, just kind of, manage our expectations of what we were going to be dealing with.
Yeah. Well, he had knocked on a couple doors for us prior to this for sale by owner, and they were not good experiences.
No.
Basically, he said, you don't want to work with these people. There's a reason why it's still on the market, because they're just going to be difficult to work with. So we were a little leery at looking at a place for sale by owner, but it worked out pretty well.
Right. He contacted the homeowners and scheduled a time for us to come view it, and we walked through the house. It checked our boxes. The only box it really didn't check is we really wanted a 4-bedroom, and this is a 3.
Yeah.
So we're making that situation work.
Well, I think we got really lucky in our real estate agent, and that he was semi-retired and had some time on his hands and kind of wanted a project, basically. That he did a lot of footwork for us and kind of went through some hoops because like we talked about, for sell by owners, a little more work to make sure everything's all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, that kind of thing, and like a little more negotiation and stuff. So we just got really lucky that we had someone who was willing to, kind of go the extra mile there for us.
Yeah, and and the reality is that his commission was significantly less on this transaction than what it would have been if it was a house that they were listing as at his agency, or even if it was one that was listed through another agency.
Yeah.
So that's probably been the best experience, was just our agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we had the home inspection here. There was only one major issue found. Situation with the carport roof, the flat roof section needed to be replaced, and the sellers were willing to cover the cost of that. And we closed on this house, and so the oddities of our transaction. So this is something that they didn't tell us up front when we looked at the house, but it turns out that the people we bought the house from bought the house next door. I'm going to say that that was a little strange. You don't expect that when you're looking at a house, but
they really didn't volunteer that until we were very far in. Like there was no turning back when they volunteered that information.
Right. Yeah, we were within 2 weeks of closing by the time we found that out.
Yeah.
And we'd already spent money on the home inspection and the appraisal and all that. So. Yeah. And it wasn't a deal breaker, obviously, because we went through with it.
Yeah.
Because in the long term, we're spending a couple $100,000 on this house. Like, what's $600 for an inspection and an
they're
appraisal?
Great people and good neighbors and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not that. It was just kind of strange.
Yeah, we just didn't expect it.
Right. Unexpected.
Yeah. So, what do you like about the house?
So, I guess I'll say that I like this location for our children. We're really close to the high school. Of course, our kids don't go to this high school. They go to the one across town. But even so, it's still like a straight shot over to the downtown area. So the kids can walk and go wherever they want. We're in real close proximity to the park that has the pool in it. So location-wise, this is great. And it's very pedestrian-friendly area. So I don't feel bad about letting my kids, walk down to the snow cone place or to the pool or whatever. So it makes our first summer here, they were already like all excited to do those things. Right. And gives them a little bit of independence, to be able to do some things. So our old house was not in town, so there was nowhere really for them to go on their own. So that's definitely a plus. I do think the size is actually perfect, just about, because we're kind of getting to the end of children at home. I mean, they're going to be kind of moving on, and we didn't want a huge place because of the season we're in. Like, I don't think this house is going to feel too terribly empty. Right. Once kids start moving out.
Exactly.
So I think this was the perfect size.
Yeah. It's a little tight right now.
Yeah.
But, when we have a junior in high school, a sophomore in high school. And so within a couple of years, when they're going to college and stuff, then I think it's going to be fine.
Right.
Yeah. And I really didn't want to, if you buy for what we need in the moment, within 5 years, it's too much house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so far it's been pretty low maintenance because most things were pretty updated or taken care of. So especially compared to our old house, it was like not quite 100 years old, but older house, and lots of things that needed updated and maintained, and we were having a lot of issues, just maintaining or fixing things and stuff, and it's just not that constant fight here to try to do maintenance all the time, or not even maintenance, but repairs, like major repairs basically. So that's definitely a plus too. And I would say the proximity to family. So we're very close to my mother, and my grandmother lives with her, so that makes us close to her. And actually, recently, my little brother, bought a house pretty close to us too. So we're all in pretty close proximity now.
I'd say the location is probably my favorite thing. Now, I've lived in town pretty much continuously my whole life. We moved to town when I was like 11. So I'm very much a townie person. I just prefer to be in town. So for me, I think the location where we are in town is just great. We're really close to the things that we like as far as restaurants. We're really close to the schools, really close to work, really close to downtown for where the activities are. So yeah, I think all of those things, that's probably my favorite thing about this house. And then the neighborhood. So this street is a really good mix of, retired people, young families, younger couples. So I don't have that anxiety that what's a nice neighborhood now is going to turn into, just low rent, rent houses. So that's one thing I really love about this house and this location. And then my favorite thing about this house is the 2-car garage. It's detached, which I thought I wouldn't really love in the beginning, but I'm starting to like that idea a little bit more because there's a nice sound, like a sound barrier there, just a natural sound break between whatever I'm doing out there and the house. So I can get out my my loud power tools or turn up the music or just do whatever I'm doing, and I don't have to worry about disturbing anyone in the house.
Yeah, we added a she shed when we moved in too, and so that's kind of my getaway spot. So I think that each of us having kind of a spot to do our own thing has been very helpful too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, the bad things about this house. What do you not like about this house?
So, I'm gonna have to say location, even though we said all the good things about it. For me, it's quite an adjustment to move back to town because I've been almost 10 years pretty far out of town. It was quieter. I will say, we live, 10 feet from the railroad track? So you did have some stuff like that, but a lot less traffic, a lot less foot traffic. I didn't even notice how much my dog barked until we moved here because we didn't have a lot of foot traffic or even car traffic on our road at the old house. But here, someone walks or drives by, many, many times a day. So that was an adjustment for sure. And just the constant activity outside all the time pretty much has just been an adjustment. But I wouldn't say that it's horrible or anything. It's just been an adjustment. I think I underestimated what a significant change that was going to be for me because we had a really large backyard at the old house too, and we could build a bonfire. We had chickens, so I do kind of miss those things, and just being able to hang out in my yard and drink coffee or sit by the fire, and really no one would be around or talk to me or anything. So it's just an adjustment because now our yard's very small. When we're out there, we can hear every word our neighbors say if they're out in their yard, and so it's just an adjustment. It's just different. So
yeah, I'd say that the one thing I don't like about this house is the yard is so small, and it's kind of broke up into two areas. So you have the little side yard that's fenced in right where the deck is, and then the backyard next to the garage, where the shed is. And because of the deck, that's the area that we use the most.
Right.
But our neighbors are very active. They have a pool and they have a lot of parties, and they're not loud or anything, but it's different when you go outside and you're sitting at your patio table or something, and you can hear the neighbors' conversation, which that's where when we looked at the house, I didn't really connect those dots. And the old house, that wasn't a concern. Even if the neighbors were outside, they were far enough away you couldn't hear them talk. But then, like the house I owned in Oklahoma, like our yards were close to each other, they butted up against each other, but like I never had neighbors that went outside.
Went outside too at the same time.
And all that time, like so we had
Yeah.
it wasn't something I was expecting. So that's been like my one adjustment. And then just the traffic. We have security cameras and we get notifications all day and all night of cars passing the garage, or we get notifications all day long of vehicle detected out front, vehicle detected out back. And that's really wasn't anticipating that. But I have to say, like, when I've been in the garage, I have the door open and people are walking up and down the alley, or when I've been outside working and people are walking up and down the street, the people are very friendly. Yeah. They
It's a nice neighborhood, and people are friendly. I will say that we definitely felt like we needed security cameras here, because close proximity to the high school too, but just being in town. And we haven't had anything major, but we did get a bike stolen.
Right.
And like the worst bike that we had too, like the wheel was bent. Like they're probably like hobbling down the street on that thing. I don't know why you would take it, but that did happen pretty quick after we moved in. So and that's kind of one of the nuances of living in town. There's just so much foot traffic going by all the time. So we did put the cameras in, and it's something that we probably really wouldn't have done at the old house. I don't think. Just wouldn't have been necessary.
Yeah.
So, but I will say too, my other kind of negative is, I should have mentioned the positive is that there's a pantry here, which I did not have at the old house, which is awesome.
Right.
But I have to say my negative here would be the kitchen, because the electric stove, I was not used to that. I had a gas range at the old house, so that's been an adjustment. It's not terrible, but it's been an adjustment. And just the layout of the kitchen really looked like there's a lot more kitchen than I had before, but it's really not. It's just a different layout. The saving grace there, though, in this kitchen is having a pantry, because cabinets that I would have had to use up at the old house for food storage, I'm not using now for that because we have a pantry. So it's a more useful space. But when we came and looked at the house, my impression was that the kitchen was quite a bit larger than like my existing kitchen, and in reality, not really. So just a different layout.
Right. So, if you had to do it over, would you have moved?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely would have.
Yeah. So when we bought, the interest rates were just starting to tick up. So we got ours locked in at 3, and our lender told us that that what he was seeing is they thought it was going to be like 3.125 within about 30 days, and then we got the concession for the roof.
Right.
So that roof job turned out to be probably the biggest hassle of the whole deal. Mm-hmm. So, we contacted the roofer before we closed to schedule getting the roof done, and he said, "I'll order the materials." It was almost 6 months before the materials came in. Yeah. And by the time that the materials showed up, the leak had gotten worse, and there was more repairs that needed to be done, to the carport, the structure of the carport, because of that. But you know, if that was the worst situation in the whole bit, then I think we're very
really not
lucky.
too bad.
You know,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
You know, any regrets?
No, I think that the only kind of regret that I would say that I have is just that we kind of did everything super quick, and it just felt really pressured, just because of the way the market was and everything. Because even when we looked at this house, we were kind of like, oh, we have to, like, if we want it, we've got to get in on it now. There's no really thinking about it too hard, because then you would just miss out. Somebody else would put an offer down, and that'd be it.
Right.
So that's the only thing that I kind of regret, is just the timing of when we were shopping was just kind of high pressure, and so I didn't feel like. I mean, it worked out for us, but I did kind of feel like we didn't get like proper time, because like a 30-year mortgage is something you typically want to think about for a while, not just, you know, oh yeah, cool,
Right.
do it now.
Yeah, you know, it was really hard not to make an emotional decision and really be, you know, strategic and mindful of the total picture, because
Right.
of the market pressures and how hard it was to,
Yeah.
you know, find something that and put in an offer that would get accepted. So
Yeah. So bonus question: what is your top project that you want to do? What's the number one on your mind right now?
number one on my mind right now. I think my top project right now is probably running. So I think my top project is replacing the electric range with a gas range. But not because I don't like the electric range. It's because I want that 50 amp breaker so that I can rewire my garage. That's my top project.
Well, I'll admit that I, you know, have no argument, because I prefer the gas. I prefer the gas stove, and I miss it, so I'm not gonna complain. So, but I would say though that's not my top one. The top one would probably be our bathroom.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, the bathroom.
the bathroom.
The bathroom.
Stay tuned. All right, well, let us know in the comments if you have a project that you want to do on your house. And
Did you buy a house during the pandemic? You know, what was your experience? Was your area as crazy as ours? Let us know.